Hello and welcome to this little video on how to create a blog post for your Squarespace website. Now maybe it's a website that I created for you or you did it yourself and you want to know how you can blog, then you're in the right place. I think that blogging on your site is a really good idea. For example, let's say that you've got a new product for your business or you've some new creative thing that you've done and you want to share that. Loads of reasons that you might want to create a blog. One good thing to do is to write that blog and then share it on social media such as Facebook or LinkedIn, and then that way when people click on it they'll come through to your website, so you're driving traffic back to your website, which is a really good thing to do, right? The other bonus is that you're always creating new content, so that can help for Google and it can help for search engines, because then your website isn't stagnant and got the same old material on it because there's new things happening. It's keeping it fresh. So lots of good reasons to do it. Okay, so let's have a little look at how to create a blog post. Okay, so here I am in Squarespace. I've already logged into squarespace.com, and then once you log in you can see your website listed there. Okay, so there it is. There's my own website there, so I'm going to click on that. Okay, so the next thing that comes up, you're in this kind of dashboard area. I can see the home page of my website, and I'm going to click on Pages. Okay, so here's all the pages of my website. I'll just close this little bit up, and you can see that I've got a blog page already set up. So if I click on that now blog pages come with the templates. There's usually a kind of blog page already set up for you. Okay, so there'd be a blog page already set up. If I created a website for you, then you've already got a blog page set up. Okay, so you would have that. All right, so once we're on the blog page area, okay, I've got, if I scroll down there, you can see a list of all the blogs that I've created. And at the same time, I've got a list of recent blogs down here on the left. With some little thumbnail images that you'll notice, and I can go in and edit, and I can go in and delete, and all of that stuff. Okay, so creating a new blog post is as easy as clicking on the little plus arrow. You notice when you mouse over it, it tells you add post. So I'm going to click on that. Okay, so up comes this page, right? Or this area where you're going to create your blog post. Now, it's not that big, all right? It's not huge. If I click on that, then that expands it up and I can work on it there. Okay, so I want to undo that. Okay, so I hit the escape key on my keyboard there, and that took me back down to that size again. Okay, so I want to enter a title, and then I can go ahead and enter all my content here. All right, now to make things easier, what I did was I created some content earlier, and I've got it in my little text edit here, so you don't have to sit and watch me type, right? So my title is How to Create a Blog Post in Squarespace. I'm just going to copy that from there. Paste that in. Okay, so there's my title, and then I can start to add my content. And this is where you would just go ahead and type in there, or if you've got it in Word or got it in text edit or Notepad like I have, then you can just cut and paste it in. Okay, so I'm going to just paste that in. I'm using Command V as a shortcut on my keyboard, to Command C to copy, or Control C if you're a PC user, and to paste in it's Command V or Control V. Okay, so that pasted that content in. Now you can see then, right, that as the content's in and I'm dealing with the content, there's all these little, there's this little toolbar, just the same as you have in Word. So I can make text bold, I can create a hyperlink if I want. So let's say that I wanted to link out to the Squarespace website, for example, then I could just click on that, and then I can paste in the URL of the website that I'm linking to. You can center your text, and you've got some options here. You can create a quote, which is really good. Okay, so there you go. I've got my text in already, and I've got my title. So that's a good start, right? Now I think that a blog post always looks better with an image. Okay. Now, maybe you've got your own image, or maybe you need an image, right? And a great place to get images is a website called unsplash.com. It's just brilliant. And the images are free to use, so they're royalty free. And all you have to do is credit the photographer that created the image. Okay, so I'm on unsplash.com right now, and all I did was search for Blogger, all right, and a whole load of images come up, and they're all really, really good, right? Some of them are appropriate, some of them aren't, all right, and I found one further down. I like this black and white one, and I've downloaded that already. But look, there's a little download link. Okay, so you click on that, and look, it downloaded there. And the other thing that it does is it asks you to give a credit, and it gives you a little credit line there, as in a little bit of text that you can use. And all you need to do is copy that, and then you can put that at the bottom of your blog post to credit the photographer. Nice, right? Just going to jump into Photoshop for a minute, because what I've done is I've got that picture already downloaded and I've got it open in Photoshop. So you need to do a little bit of work just to get your image to the type of size that you want for your blog post. And actually, I'm going to create two size versions of the image. Okay, so in my blog on my website, okay, you might have noticed if you look at it that some of the images, okay, if I just go to my website now, okay, so on these Squarespace websites, you get the opportunity to put a really big image at the top, or even a video, right? Now, here's a huge image at the top, and even if I go to a blog post that I created recently, it was about working with Mike Osmond, then there's that big image at the top. And then I've also got smaller images like this one in amongst the copy, all right, and amongst the writing. So this image at the top, right, I want it to look good when it's full size across the viewer screen, right? And so it needs to be a pretty big image, okay? Now this image, if that image was the same size as this, then it's going to completely dominate this page. So I would say, as a rule of thumb, okay, working in pixels, that you want to have this image, let's say 400 pixels wide, and this image, I always make these images 1500 pixels, so as that when Squarespace puts it in that banner like that and it spreads it away out, it looks really good and it looks nice and sharp. Okay, so coming back to the blog, right, I've got two images that I want to add. So I want to add one in the text, but I also want to add an image for the header image, okay? So I'll do that in a second, but I need to prep the images first. Okay, so in Photoshop, here's I've got the image open twice so that I can create two different versions. And if I go to image size in Photoshop, okay, then I want to be working, look, it says centimeters here because I was doing some print work. I want to be working in pixels, and it's huge, right? And it's 5,000, so it's way, way bigger than we need. So I'm going to make sure that that little chain link thing is make sure that those are linked together, the width and the height, so that when I change the width to 400, the height changes with it, okay, automatically, and the image doesn't distort. Okay, so that's one. Now it looks tiny, but if I just zoom in a bit in Photoshop here and bring it back up to a size, and then I'm going to save that or export it. Okay, so you either save or you export. Okay, now I'm going to export that as a JPEG file, all right, and so that's fine. So here we go, and I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to call it Blogger, all right, and I'll call that Blogger1, and I'm going to put that on my desktop. Okay, so Blogger1, or in fact, better than that, I'll call it Blogger 400, and that way I know that that's the 400 pixel wide image. Okay, so I'm just going to save that. Okay, so that's that one done, right? Now I've got a second version, and here it is here. Now this is the one I want to make 1500 pixels wide. So I'm going to go image size, just the same as before. Make sure I'm in pixels, which I am, and I'm going to change that to 1500. And that's great. So I'll say OK to that. I'm going to go File, Export. So it'll export. I've got my Photoshop set up that I can do a quick export as a JPEG. Some people, I always used this Save for Web, and it's still in Photoshop as a legacy, and I always loved that. And you can choose whether you want to have a PNG file or a JPEG or whatever. So if you save it as a JPEG, and what's good about this box is it shows you the file size, which is really useful. And you can kind of nudge the quality a wee bit. Okay, so, you know, you've not got some huge file, you've got something that's manageable that'll load pretty quickly on your web page. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to save. I'm going to save that on my desktop as before, and I'll call that Blogger 1500. Okay, that's done. All right, so I've got my 2 images made. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Okay, finished. All right, so I'm done with Photoshop for the moment. So I'm going to get back into my SquareSpace. All right, so back in where the text is, you'll notice that there's this plus arrow down the bottom. Okay, if I click on that, then it gives me all these options of things that I can add. All right, now you can add things like videos. So there's the video one. If you want, you just click on that, you put the address in, the URL of the YouTube video or whatever, and it puts it in there. In this case, for me, it's an image, right? So I'm going to click on image, and then it's asking me to upload it. So I'm going to click on that and then find the 400 one, which is good. Okay, and here it comes. And there's the image in there, right? Great, okay. I'm going to say apply. Okay, now what it does with the image is it sticks it at the bottom, and every time you add something to a Squarespace page or you add something like an image, then it puts it at the bottom, right? But you can grab it and drag it and move it. Now you'll notice as you move it around, this line is giving you an idea where it's going to go. And if I move it there, I get that. I like that idea of it being on the right-hand side where the text wraps around it. I like that. Okay, that works really well. Okay, so now if I go out full size, you can see that the image is sitting nicely in amongst the text, which is good. So look, there's that little arrow to take me back, or I could have hit the escape key. Okay, so we're getting there, right? So one more thing to do and a couple more things to show you, and then we're done, right? So options. Click on options. Now this is where you can add that big header image that's going to look amazing at the top of your blog post, right? And it says thumbnail image, right? Because it's also the same image that will turn up on this list where you've got those little thumbnails where your list of items are. But it also makes the big header image. Okay, so I'm going to upload that now. And there's the Blogger 1500. Okay, so uploading that. And it resizes it. And Squarespace is really clever at that, as in resizing. Now, here's a little thing that's kind of cool, right? You've got this, because the header image, it's very letterbox, isn't it? It's very wide. And what it gives you is that it gives you this little circle that you can move around. Okay, so if you imagine you're not going to get the full height of the image, what you're going to get is a letterbox version. And you say, yeah, do you know, I want it to be a bit more kind of down here because I don't, you know, I want it to be a bit more concentrated on the keyboard, right? And I can kind of move that. It's called the focal point, right? So I've done that now. Okay, one more thing to do, right? And this is important, is I need to add some text which becomes a teaser text on the page which has the lists of all the blog posts. Okay, so I'm going to do that now, right? So you could take the first paragraph of your blog post, or just a paragraph that's going to catch people. All right, so I'm going to take these first 2 paragraphs actually, and I'm going to go Command-C to copy that, and then I'm going to paste that into this excerpt section. Okay, alrighty, so I'm just about there. One more thing to show you. If you make a featured post, right, a featured post sticks at the top. Okay, so that's quite good. So it'll always kind of float to the top, and it's part of that sort of top image, which I really like. And I've done that with a few blog posts that I've got really good photography, just to highlight that stuff. Okay, so I'm not going to do that in this case, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to save and publish right now. Okay, so it gives you this little thing that I want to share it, etc., etc. And my blog post is created, right? So that's good, right? That was it, done, right? So now if I go back to my website and I go to my blog and I scroll down, and there's the new blog post, how to create a blog post in Squarespace. I click on that. There's that big header image. It's put the title right across that image, which I really like. That's a great looking image. Thanks to Unsplash for that. And wow, that looks great. That looks like a great page. Oh, I forgot to add the credit for the photographer, right? So let me go back into that. I can edit my new post. Okay, maybe go down the bottom and find that photo by Dan. Okay, thank you, Dan. Great photo. So let me go down there, go back in, take a few lines down, a bit of space, hit save. Okay, and that'll update that. And then if I go and look at my blog post again, let's refresh the page and then scroll down, and there is the credit for the photo for Unsplash. Okay, so that was it. Really easy, really straightforward. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful to you, and now you can blog away until your heart's content, right? If you would like me to create a website for you, or you need help with your website, then why not get in touch? My contact details are all on my website, and that is www.cosmicegg.co.uk. Okay, thanks a lot.